Hello everybody and welcome to another episode with Broke Girls Art School. In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you guys how I went about making this propagation station. So I was walking through the good old Hoblob the other day. Sorry, I will never call Hobby Lobby Hoblob again. I don't know where that came from, but so I saw it for like $50 and I'm like, that's ridiculous. So I'm gonna make my own. I made this for like $10. Most of the supplies I already had. But yeah, I did plants on the outside and then, oh, sorry, these are filled with water. Trying not to spill, but the middle one I did a candle in. Turned out super duper cute. And yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys that process. If you wanna see more videos from me, please remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you wanna help out my channel, I always appreciate a thumbs up. If you try out this project, make sure to drop a comment, let me know how it went for you. And also feel free to send a picture over to one of my Instagram accounts, either at Burn Blue Art or at Sky Blues Tattoos. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. But yeah, super fun. I'll show you guys how I did it. Here we go. All right, so this is the propagation station that I originally saw. Here you can see the tag. $50 for that, which like, come on. So I walked my ass over to the unfinished wood aisle, which is where I get most of my slabs from. And I only buy them when they're 40% off because I'm a cheap ass. So yeah. And make sure to always check the backside of the wood when you're doing wood burning projects to make sure there's no spots back there. So next we went over to the glass aisle and I was trying to find glass that would do good with water and, you know, big enough to fit the stems, but also easy to clean. So these I thought would be cute, but I ended up deciding against them because I thought they'd be kind of a pain in the ass. I think those would have been cute as well. Alright guys, so these were the different supplies I ended up going with. This piece of wood was $7.99 and was 40% off. And then I ended up going with these to hold the water and the plants, or you could even put candles inside, which I like, so you could kind of, you know, use it however you want. But these were, $2.99 and these were half off, so it was $4.50 for all three of these, and then a little bit over $4 for this. So I'm at about $9.30 in supplies because I already had, you know, some acrylic paint, and then I'm probably going to be using these liquid acrylic, my silver and white, and then I just grabbed a couple of screws and paintbrush. So my game plan right now is to paint this front facing part of the wood like a matte black. I'm probably going to leave the edges just because I really like the look of like unfinished wood. So I'm planning on, painting everything black. I'm going to put the screws in, you know, equally apart, boom, boom, boom. And then these guys, I'm probably only gonna screw the screws in like halfway so that way I can hang these off the front. And yeah, so that's my plan. Let's see how it goes. I personally think it looks a lot cuter than even the one that I saw in the store. But I'm gonna throw this in a time lapse and then we'll get this baby taken care of. One quick little tip, whenever I'm doing like painting something onto unfinished wood like this, I always grab my paintbrush and I'll go and just brush over the edges to try to get any loose debris off. And that saves me down the line from getting stuff in my paintbrush while I'm actually painting on the wood. So just a little tip. So for the paint on here, I was keeping it pretty simple. Just using regular black acrylic paint that I had laying around. I'm trying to make sure that I had a nice, thin, even coat. And I ended up doing 2 coats, but here's some real-time action. So you can see I'm making sure that I'm getting it right up to the edge of the 2 different tones of the wood. And I'm trying to brush out any lines. I know I'll probably need to touch up some stuff later, but we're just getting a nice smooth base coat to start. All right, guys, so here is where I am at so far. So I did the matte black. It's not totally dry yet, so I'm going to be kind of cautious not to touch this stuff and smudge it. But yeah, so I painted the front and the sides. I got to do a couple little touch-ups here and there. But the next step that I'm going to take is measuring this out to make sure that I put these guys on evenly. So I'm going to do, this is the top, just so you guys can kind of get an idea. They're kind of going to sit like this. So I'm going to be doing screws here, here, and here. Just so I want at least the edge ones to be coming in the same distance. So I'll probably do a mark about, let's see. So that's about a little bit over 1.5 inches. I'll be putting a screw in, so I'll probably measure 1.5 inches, do a screw there, measure another 1.5 inches from this side, do a screw here, and then I'll probably just eyeball the center one. Or maybe I'll measure from this point to this point and then find the exact center point. I'm a big believer in measure twice and do it once to try to avoid getting annoyed later down the road. So that is my game plan. I'm going to try to put these screws so they're like coming out of the painted part, and then I'm going to paint the screws black so they kind of mesh with the background a little bit more. But I'm really digging the rustic look so far, and I really like this like gray colored glass. I'm still hesitant. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint any designs, maybe like some flowers or something on the black, or if I'm just going to leave it and keep it more simple. I was also thinking maybe I could burn like some cute little leaves or something on the wood part down here. But first I'm just going to get those screws in and see how they hang, and then we will take it from there. All right, so here we are lining up the glassware. And then I usually like to mark things with my pencil first to make sure that they look nice and even to me. Quick side note, guys. So I got this little hammer and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. So you can like unscrew this. And then you got a flathead. Put this back on. If you unscrew the very bottom, you know, little screwdriver there. And then I believe it unscrews another 1 or 2 times. A little mini flathead, and yeah, that's it. But I love this thing. I use it all the time. It's perfect for just like little stuff like this, or adding like the hangers on the back of the wood pieces, like so you're able to put them on the wall. It's just really convenient. I'll tag a link for it from Amazon. All right, so now we are adding the screws. I did not screw them through that far. I didn't want them to poke all the way through and then scratch up my wall. But I had to make sure I had them nice and even, otherwise it would bug the absolute shit out of me. But yeah, they turned out good. All right, guys, so just wanted to show you where I was out so far. I ended up grabbing another little screwdriver because it was actually kind of hard to screw these into the wood. But yeah, they're looking pretty good so far. Like I said, I'm going to paint over these screws with the same black paint. I am definitely going to go over this black with either like Mod Podge. I might even epoxy it because it scuffs pretty easy, as you can see, even just from like setting this glass on here. Left kind of a little bit of a shine. There you can see. So this stuff, yeah, it's going to take a little bit to dry and it's going to scuff pretty easy. So let me show you Mod Podge. I always recommend the matte version. But since I'm going to be doing like water inside of these, I will probably end up doing epoxy just to make sure that I get the most longevity out of the piece. But let me show you guys what it looks like standing upright. All right, guys, so this is what it is looking like so far off of the wall. I would definitely recommend painting the sides of the wood too. I feel like it gives it a much more finished look. And if you wanted, you could stop here pretty much. I would still recommend doing the Mod Podge, but As is like this, I think it looks super cute and it would be totally functional, so it depends on what you want to do. The fun thing about making stuff yourself is you can dress things up however you want.
And just so you guys can see, there's like a little, you know, like some spots that came up when I put the screws in. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking my Dremel tool and I'm kind of going up around the edges to clean off those little spots. And then I'm going to go over with black paint to make sure it's all nice and flush. Let's do the same thing here. Want it to look nice and neat.
Alright guys, so next I'm going to be just taking my pencil and I'm going to be going, and don't mind the noise in the background, my cat is obsessed with my oversized Hobby Lobby bag, so that's what that sound is. But so I'm going to be going in and just drawing some like simple leaves coming through. So I'm going to be doing this like silver liquid acrylic paint on top of the black, and then I'm going to probably do a few leaves down at the bottom too, except I'm going to wood burn on the raw wood parts. I'm going to keep it pretty light and open. I don't want to be overlapping too much with the space that like these take up, so I'm going to try to be mindful of the placement of the leaves so they're in the most visible spots. Alright, and to get my sketch on there, I just grabbed my regular graphite pencil. I just wanted to do a nice loose sketch. I didn't go too crazy with the design, just wanted to keep it simple, nice flowers and leaves. I feel like these ended up kind of resembling, I think they're called clematis flowers. They're like the dark purple vine flowers. I love those. Here's Mushu. He decided to jump up here and knock over all my shit. Cats are fun. Oh God. Here we are sketching in some more flowers. So here you can see I kind of have it like creeping through where the glass is hanging. So it'll be nice and visible. Here we are, sped it up a little bit for you guys so it wasn't such a long video. But like I said, I'd recommend keeping the design simple so it's not too busy. I want it to be readable for sure. After I got the sketch down, I went in and touched up some of the black spots that got scuffed up and like around the screws to make sure it was all uniform. And I painted the screws themselves as well so they wouldn't stick out too much. All right, and next I grabbed a smaller paintbrush and I started using my silver liquid acrylic. This was pretty much the only paint I ended up using besides the black. I really like the gray and black look, and I think that this will complement the like gray cracked glass that I have to hold the plants. I ended up going over pretty much everything twice just to make sure it was nice and bright. Like I said, guys, you can customize this however you want. Whatever colors will match your room, or, you know, make it match whatever space that you're planning on putting it. Yeah, so I kept the flowers mostly lines. I added a few little lines just for like an illustrative kind of textured look. Just added a little bit more dimension than having just the lines, but. All right, the next step I took was grabbing my wood burner so I could continue the design onto the wood part as well. So as you can see, I just continued the petals down so it didn't quite cut off at the black. I'm keeping the same technique, just line work. I thought it would give it a nice, more of a mixed media feel, I guess. Alright, and here we are so far, you guys. You can see I did like the silver over the black and then transition that into the wood on the bottom. I'm really digging it so far, but right now I'm going to throw some, I might do another layer over a couple spots with the silver, and then I'm going to do a nice layer of Mod Podge on top of this. Like I said, I'll probably epoxy it, but for now, let's get that Mod Podge on there. All right, so I have a whole long tutorial on how to properly Mod Podge and epoxy wood burn projects. You could use it on stuff you painted, wood burned, whatever, pretty much anything you want to epoxy, but I'll tag a link for that video in the description box below if you guys want a detailed explanation of what I'm doing. But pretty much just add a thin coat of Mod Podge, let it dry, and then throw some epoxy on there. You're going to want to make sure that your piece is leveled before you pour so it doesn't all drain off the side, and be careful about popping bubbles. But like I said, for in-depth explanation of what I'm doing, click on the link to that other video. All right guys, so yeah, here is the piece, all nice and cured, shiny with the epoxy. Very happy that I epoxied this. It just makes it look way nicer, way more durable. I even epoxied over the screws too, as you can kind of see that shiny little bulb on top. And I really like that it still has kind of that rustic feel, but it was super simple and easy to make. But yeah, so now I just need to be able to put this on the wall. So what I usually use for my wood, any wood project really, is these little guys. You can pick up a 10-pack of them for a few bucks at the store. You just have these little nails. So what I usually do is, and also be cautious guys, whatever hook you're gonna be putting on the wall, make sure that you put this low enough to where that won't be peeking out of the top. So what I will do is I will put this in place, nice and centered, right about there. And I usually go in with my Dremel first just to kind of get little starters in the holes. So that's what it's gonna look like on the back. And then I'll show you guys the hanger that I'm gonna be putting on the wall. All right guys, so this is the little picture hanger that I will be using. This nail pops out like that, but I like these a lot because the nail's kind of angled downward, so I trust it a bit more when I'm gonna be using something that's a little bit heavier. So you can see, yeah, the nail kind of goes on a downward angle into the wall. All right guys, so just went through some real-time trial and error here. So one mistake that I made that I'm gonna change right now is, instead of just putting one post in the back to hold this up, I'm gonna put one on each side, because if I go to put this one on first, it's gonna knock it off of its spot. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm gonna take this out and move it here, and then I'm gonna add another one on the other side here. That'll make it a lot more stable so the weight doesn't bring it off balance, especially because you're gonna be filling these up with water. Probably gonna throw a candle in one of these too, so all of that is gonna be adding weight. So I'd rather just do this now than be pissed off later when it falls off the wall and breaks. So we'll check back in a minute. All right, so here I am trying to get that hanger off of the back, and what did it for me was a nail file and a fork that I had nearby, because I was too lazy to go downstairs and get something else that could get it out for me. So, oh, another thing to note, guys, I put a paper towel underneath this. Well, in a second here, put the paper towel underneath this so the epoxy wouldn't scratch on my table if I shifted it around. So I'm lining up my picture hangers nice and even, dremeling holes in the back again like before, and then we are going to nail these in. It was a lot easier when I had the screws hanging off the side of the table, so it was an even surface that I could actually hammer on and not trying to balance it in the air. This is a hack that I actually learned on TikTok on how to find the right spot to put the hangers on the wall if you have multiple hooks behind a frame. So what I'm gonna do is just put this piece of tape down over it, and then I'm gonna grab a marker here and then draw a little tick right at the base of where I'm going to want that hook to go. So now I can just take this piece of tape, put it on the wall, make sure it's level, and then I'll be able to slip this right on top. All right, so here we are lining the tape up on the wall, and then what I did was hammer the nail into the wall just a little bit so I could see where it was, and then I removed the tape and then put the rest of the hook in. Don't mind how hideous I look. It's the day after Christmas and I was too lazy to look halfway decent, so we're working with what we got here, all right guys? No judgment. So here you can see I marked the walls and then removed the tape, and now I am adding the hooks. Alrighty, and here we are adding on that second hook. All right guys, so here it is so far. It's pretty even, but it's a little bit off. I want this side to be a little bit higher. So what I'm gonna do, instead of moving the hook, sorry. So this is the redneck in me showing, so don't judge. But I'm just gonna grab a little piece of painter's tape and slide it in here. Yeah, let me rip this in a smaller piece. All I did was fold that in half. I just wanted to create a little bit more space so it would raise this up without putting another hole in the wall. So I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Get on there. Oh, and see, now it's perfect. Now it's like totally level. Just that little fix. Bada bing, bada boom. Redneck logic. Hell yeah. All right, so we're throwing our glassware on there. And next I'm going to fill a couple of them up with water. With my handy dandy little Goodwill teapot. And I just grabbed a couple clippings from plants that I already have. So I grabbed a pothos clipping and then a wandering dude clipping. So very cute. And then I threw a candle that I already had in there. All right guys, so this is the finished product. I'm really loving how it looks so far. Next I'm gonna show you with the candlelit in the middle. And you could dress this up however you want. Like you could do 3 candles if you wanted to just be a candle holder. I like propagating stuff. This one I already have some roots coming out of my wandering dude. But for the sake of my propagation station, he has been moved here. And then I just threw some pothos in because why not? All right, go ahead and light this candle. And voila! So here's a little close-up for you guys so you can see the painted design better and the wood burn. I would be a little cautious with the epoxy on the nail. I didn't really think about that with the candle, but I'll probably just throw a little tea light in there and it'll be fine. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the lights off. I still have the window open here, but with total darkness, I like that the candle kind of illuminates the painting if you have it when the rest of the lights are off. But I'm super happy with this project. It was a lot of fun to do. And I'm pretty sure I only spent around 10 bucks. So hell yeah. Okay guys, so I just want to show you real quick like how this fits into my space and why I chose the colors that I did. So this is a little corner I've been working on. I'm going to post a video on, because most of that stuff is thrifted and I painted it all. So keep an eye out for that video. But here is my bookshelf. Got a bunch of cool crystals and stuff that I thrifted on here. And then you walk around and that's where this guy is. Let me show you guys with the lights off. So this is what it looks like with the lights off. I just love my little shelf here. And I think this was just like a nice little tie-in. It's small, but it's cute. All right, you guys, and that is gonna wrap up this episode of Broke Girls Art School. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a comment and let me know. And if you ended up making a project similar to this, I would love to see it. So feel free to shoot it over to my Instagram at burnblueart, or my other one, which is at skybluestattoos. And yeah, if you wanna see my future content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm always doing random crafts and stuff, and I'm definitely gonna be posting a lot more. And yeah, if you wanna help me out, make sure to hit that like button too. See you guys, thank you.